Today we're tackling the question, how does a person overcome adversity? Hey, my name is Tobey. Thank you for joining me. This is a video about how we all face adversity, and it's certainly one of the things we have in common. And it typically defines us as humans, our behavioral characteristics. And I think many people continue to face adversity needlessly because they're not following specific rules. So I have a couple of things to share with you on how I typically face adversity and how I've trained other people to do so. And stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you a specific universal law that can really help you not only attract less adversity, but also lead a much better, more productive and prosperous life. And we're going to get started in just a second. Okay, today we're handling the question, how does a person overcome adversity? Once again, thanks for joining me. Let's go through a couple of things to start with. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to share this one universal law that can handle pretty much all adversity better than you thought possible. So first of all, let's talk about what it means. It basically means difficulties or misfortunes. And as you may be aware, some people seem to have more misfortune than others. Is that the luck of the draw? How does that work exactly? Why does it seem like some people continue to struggle and others skate through life on a golden-plated skateboard? And that's really what this video is about. Because if you're facing too much or constant adversity, then there's just something you don't know yet. So let's talk about what those things are. First of all, because energy is everything, if you've never heard me say that before, I think you realize that energy is a specific intrinsic thing that you either have and vibrate at a high frequency or you vibrate at a low frequency. And because everything is energy, number one, energy can attract less adversity if you put out the correct type of energy. And number two, you can also learn to be less resistant to adversity. And so we're going to handle these two things in detail. So again, number one, attract less adversity. And number two, be less resistant when adversity does come. Wouldn't it be nice if both of those things were actually happening in our lives? Okay, so how do you actually attract less adversity? Let's go through them. Number one, emit a vibrational frequency that is higher than you normally emit. So that means that whatever projects you take on, whatever conversations you have, whatever presentations you do, wherever you go, whatever you do, whatever situations and circumstances that you face them with a higher level of frequency, meaning do it with an enjoyable disposition. Do it with more happiness. Do it with more positive energy. And yes, I'm pretty sure you're thinking to yourself, well, I've heard all this motivational stuff before, but the reality of the situation is motivation cannot come from without. It can only come from within. And so you have to take the bull by the horns and show more positive energy in the face of any adversity. And you have to emit that energy. Next, expect positive outcomes by setting the bar higher. You know, we all set the bar low so that we're not disappointed with the outcome. But if you just set it higher, all you have to do is come somewhere in between where you are now and where you want to get. Nothing ever big got created with a small idea, so if you shoot for the stars, at the very least, you're going to hit the moon. And as you're putting positive energy into that specific big outcome, the universal law of attraction says you're now attracting more vibrational frequencies that are the same as what you're putting out. And therefore, less adversity, less problems, less difficulties. Number three, engage in projects that are enjoyable and helpful. Helpful meaning, is what you're doing actually benefiting others? Or is it solely for your own benefit? if it's for the benefit of others, there is a quality of energy that is emitted that can absolutely attract less adversity. And the projects that you do, whatever they are, I'm pretty sure that you're not going to do them if you don't love them. Now, if you're forced to do them, that's one thing. And somewhere in there, there's some have-tos on the way to your want-tos, and you're going to have to find a way to enjoy at least part of that. But I specifically pick projects that are enjoyable. So it's very natural for me. Okay, so next is, how can you be less resistant when adversity hits? So resistance is a difficult thing, and I'm going to try to tackle that. So number one, try to remember that everything is temporary. So that means if you look back on your life, I'm pretty sure you'll find lots of situations and circumstances that you didn't like, but yet you probably don't spend a lot of time remembering them. They come and they go. So that's a pretty simple thing to remember. It's like, yeah, it all seems like the world is crashing down when you're in the middle of it. And I'm pretty sure that with mental health the way it is these days and COVID, that people are stuck in this loop of never-ending problems. But try to remember that even COVID is temporary. Well, at least in my world, it will be temporary. And that's a pretty simple concept. Number two, the subconscious loves problems. So retrain your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is like the 90% of the mind that just looks out for icebergs. And you have to do retraining. And how do you do that? Well, you do it by clearing out limiting beliefs. There's exercises for that. You do that by saying mantras and ho'oponopono. And there's a lot of things that you can do to retrain the subconscious mind to stop getting stuck in that never-ending loop of adversity. And number three, use the 3 resistances in a row rule. So all adversity is simply a situation that you must handle and respond to. So resistance is the amount of energy that you put into basically resisting that situation, or stress, or all the things that you're feeling is the amount of energy that you're putting into resisting that specific situation. And so what you have to remember is that if you're continuously getting resistance in the form of problems, in the form of things you don't like, or misfortunes, as many people would put it, if you're in the middle of that, then try to count them up. Because if they happen in a row, that's basically the universe screaming at you saying, you're on the wrong path. You need to get off of that path and go back and take another one. Now, if you decide to go forward after 3 resistances, then one more, you got to stop, drop, and run. You just got to go back because you've chosen the wrong path, and the universe will continue to throw these roadblocks at you if it knows that this is not the quickest way to your destination. And then finally, I promised you the one big law that can handle all adversity, and that's practicing the law of Dharma. Basically, the law of Dharma means the law of purpose in life. And that means that you should be or must be on the path to at least living your purpose. And what is that? Whatever you want to do, be, or have in your life that helps other people is essentially your purpose, how you leverage your talents for the benefit of mankind. There are 3 things that are involved really in the law of Dharma. The first one is discovering your true self or higher self. Higher self is that purpose-driven life. That's your higher self. That's the enthusiasm that you have, that big goal plus the enjoyment in life coupled together equals enthusiasm. And that's really your higher self. That's your reason to jump out of bed and take on life. Number 2, you need to unearth that unique talent or gift that you have that no one else has. And if you have not accomplished that yet, or you don't know what that is, then you must spend some time trying to figure that out. Most people ignore it completely. Me, I tend to look at the talents that I've been given, such as the piano and presentation abilities and numbers and all of that, and I leverage that in my life, and I create a higher purpose from that. And then finally, you must use your gift in service of other people. When you do this, if you practice the law of Dharma on an ongoing basis, you will find very quickly that adversity will diminish significantly. In other words, the problems and the misfortunes that you currently face on an ongoing basis, they will fade away. And yes, you'll get them once in a while, but that will define you, how you handle those things. And then obviously this law of Dharma, when you live in that place, adversity will definitely fade. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for watching. It's Paul Tobey here. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. When you do, it lets us know your level of interest and will help us create more content just like this for you and other people just like you. If you have any questions or comments about the content, please post them below and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks for your time.